This is a special meeting, Hollister City Council on June 2nd, 2025. The meeting is now to order. It's 4:02 p.m. Can Mayor Shea, can you listen to allegiance?
Yes.
Okay, can you do roll?
Yes, Vice Mayor Shea.
Present.
Councilmember Sendes.
Present.
Councilmember Morales. Mayor Stevens.
Here.
And Councilmember Deanda. Here. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, take your time. You don't want you later. You're good. Speaker, are there any comment on the closed item?
Yeah, currently two speakers for the session items.
Okay.
So the first is Frank Garcia.
Please come to the podium. And I'll just remind you that you have 3 minutes. Please state your name and your city before you. Thanks.
My name is Frank Garcia, City of Hollister. My name is Frank Garcia, City of Hollister. Good evening, Mayor, Council members, staff. My name is 521. Let me be direct. This crisis was created by workers. We didn't place funds. We didn't build a track, ACA payments, or retirement and healthcare. We didn't ignore warnings over the audits. And yet, we're the ones being asked to pay the price. You're demanding a 10% pay cut. The very people who kept the city alive, the pandemic, who showed up was unsafe, when we were short-staffed, when morale was low, and we're told to take pay cut or lose job. That's that punishment, and it's the wrong people. Let me tell you what 10% means to us. It means groceries skipped, rent delayed, childcare every. It means being for real family, for work who make this run every day. And when you ask us to make that sacrifice, you're still pending a July rally, telling the public there's no need for salaries, repair, but somehow there's need for update. Let me ask you, what exactly are we celebrating? Because where I'm standing, this looks misplaced priority. And workers are being diced for decisions made behind closed doors. We're not fighting for wages, we're fighting fairness, accountability, the basic dignity every worker deserves. So I'm asking you tonight, the employee of the city, do the right thing, fix the mistakes, honor the people who kept the city running, clean up a mess they didn't create. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you, sir. Garcia.
Next speaker is Rodrigo Aguirre.
Is he in chamber? Oh, yes, okay. Yeah, no worries. No worries. Yes, just in your name, your city. Thank you.
Good afternoon, council members, Mayor. My name is Rodrigo Aguirre. I represent.
Get a breath. Can we
little
stop time just really quick to give a minute? All right.
SC President. I'm currently the waterman. Today I'm here presenting several departments, including water, storm sanitation, parks, streets, recreation, planning, and development of essential services to the community. These services will be delayed, significantly reduced in the upcoming months if corrective actions not taken by leaders due to financial decisions made by the city employees facing ultimatums of either accepting salary reductions for an unknown period of time or facing layoffs. Unnecessary spending continues with the 4th of July rally. The community deserves a 4th of July celebration, but not at the expense of taxpayer money. Citizens serve essential services in our public safety. Strong leadership is needed, required from the council. So I urge you to make your decisions and consider the needs of the citizens before analyzing the budget. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Any other speakers, Jen?
Yes, one moment, please. We have Speaker Macy. Casey, we can hear you. Casey, you try again. We didn't hear you. Okay, go ahead. It was mute. Hold on. Okay. Unfortunately, we can't hear you at this time.
Can you hear me now?
There you
Yes.
go. Ahead. Please.
May I had to switch microphone again? Sorry. Okay. Good afternoon, Council Mayor. I just want to express my concern about this 4 p.m. meeting. I know it's scheduled kind of at last minute. It's kind of important meeting, and time is not accessible for many members of the public who want to comment on the late negotiations. I know not long ago you all emphasized the importance of moving meetings back to 6:30 negotiations. I know not long ago you all emphasized the importance of moving meetings back to 6:30 so that the public have participation. But this meeting being played now, I know that there are folks getting to come at 6:30, and I hope you take into consideration, allowed to speak then. The potential for staff salary reduction is really a very serious matter, and I strongly urge you to treat staffing cuts, especially public safety personnel, an absolute last resort. There are other budget areas that should be reviewed first. For example, consider renegotiating some of the contracts, like landscaping, cut back on those, reevaluate consultant expenses, identify ways to trim legal fees. There are discretionary expenses that have to be prioritized reduction before any staff positions are affected. And I would agree that it's difficult to justify spending hundreds of thousands on a motorcycle rally while asking staff to take cuts. It creates the impression that the event is more value to the people who keep city running. Greater transparency is needed. It creates the impression that the event is more value to the people who keep city running. Greater transparency is needed regarding the true cost of the rally and its financial impact to the city. Finally, if staff are being asked to pay cuts, it's unfair to ask school management and also accept a 10% pay reduction. We need to see thought plan, fiscal responsibility, and
For these questions.
Okay, thank you everyone who gave public comments. So we are going to turn it over to the city attorney for announcing closing items.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 4.1 and 4.3 are public employee performance evaluation pursuant to Government Sec 5957, title City Attorney and City Manager. Point 2, accordance with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 4957.6, agency designated representative City Manager Dave Marion, City Attorney Mary Lerner, employee organizations, Bristol Employees International Union, SIU Local 521, Hollister Firefighters Union, HFU Local 395, Hollister Peace Association, HPOA, and represented employees.
Okay, thank you for that. We'll now adjourn to, we're going to go to the next room. We're going to, right? Yeah. We're going to go to the next room for a closed session and we'll be back when we're done. Thank you for your patience. all the attendance, and thank you for being involved in this big opportunity, this meeting. I'm going to close the closed session, and then we're going to restart this meeting. I'm officially adjourning the closed session, the special meeting, and I'm going to restart our next meeting, which is our regularly scheduled city council meeting. So this is regular meeting of Hollister City Council, June 2nd on 25. The meeting is called to order at 6:49. So city, please do call.
Okay, Mayor Stevens, give us a moment because I start a separate meeting. Okay, we'll go ahead and call Vice Boucher,
Present.
Councilmember Assis,
Here.
Councilmember Morales, Councilmember DeAnder, and Mayor Stevens.
Here. Okay, thank you. That Councilmember Sendes, can you lead us a pledge of allegiance, please? Okay, so we are going to pull some items from tonight's agenda, and then put them at a separate agenda, separate meeting. And so those items are 4.1, 6.1, 9.2, 9.3, 10.3, 12.1, and 12.2. So we'll sit poll, and they'll be considered in another coming meeting. Okay, thank you. So we're going to move to the next item. Close this. This item has been pulled from the agenda. Will not consider either. So we're going to move on to the report out. Right, thank you. So,
The question we've had there, nothing to report. On the session of May 19th, the report is Hollister City Council here unanimously affirms its conditional commitment to uphold protect public's right to address council during meeting in accordance with the provisions of the Ralph M. Brown, California Government Code and 5095 Act. Council shall not oppose any additional policy or practice that unlawfully restricts public's right to make public comment on items or matters in the subject matter jurisdiction of the legislative body. This commitment is made with qualification or limitation. The council shall ensure all meetings subject to the meaningful opportunities for public comment, consent with excellent spirit. That report.
okay, thank you for that. So we move into public input. Second of our agenda. So this is the time for anyone in the audience to speak on any item not on the agenda and within the subject matter section of council. Speaker clear available lobby and are completed given to the speaker clerk before speaking. When into the podium, please state your name and your city for the words and then speak to the council. If you're in a Zoom, click on the bottom of your screen to raise your hand. If you are in a Zoom, use a phone, use the start 9. Speech each speaker will be limited. And I'm going to just given that our room is so packed, we're going to go to related to packed houses related to a lot of items. We're going to probably have 1 minute on an item if there's more than it's more than 10 speakers. So remember, it's the amount of time. So I want to give you 4 minutes. If we have to do that, then we'll be doing that on any items. So given them a pattern, we'll have to be doing that. So the maximum amount allowed per subject for the comment section is 30 minutes. Please note that this law prohibits the council from discussing or taking actions on any items on.
Mayor Stevens, we have 12 speakers currently for
Okay.
public portion agenda.
Okay, so we're going to go to, let me with you, 1 minute, 2 minutes. Let me check with you, clerk. Is it?
We don't have a different policy for this.
Okay.
It's at
Okay, so I'm going to do 1/2 minute on this one so that we can get it going. Thank you. We're going to do 1/2 minute. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to ask audience, please not direct that so directly. We have a lot of speakers that want us not to set this section, but other sections. So please keep comments a minute after you. So let's have our speaker.
Okay, first speaker is Mr. Hernandez, followed by Rado Aguilera.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. We, the essential workers of Hollister, are deeply concerned about proposed temp savings we already lit personnel, particularly in the sanitary sewer, water department, and altogether the utility department. We are barely able to maintain the sewer system as it is. Staff need to unaddressed overflow and maintain lift stands and decline essential services. It is heartening to see substantial amounts of money being spent on rails, Christmas lights, and 4th of July rally that does not generate revenue. The city actually results in financial loss. It's not just a matter of bid allocation, it's a matter of fairness, respect, folks who have kept the city running. Mismanagement of funds past years should not fall on the shoulders of those who have worked tirelessly for this community. We want to ensure that everyone understands the consequences of these decisions. It is our fault that previous budget decisions were made fully and would have to be the ones that are the brunt of these mistakes. We're here to serve and protect our community, and we hope the city support us in turn. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Next speaker.
The next speaker is Rodrigo Aguilera.
Okay, so please, can I ask we not do this, or it's going to take us a very long time to get through a speaker. We can hold off on that. Appreciate the enthusiasm and the support that you show. We have to keep things in it. It's take a long time if we do that. Sorry, can you say his
Yeah,
name again?
this is Rodrigo Aguilar to be followed by Bo.
Go ahead, Mr. Aguilera.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Rodrigo Aguilera, SU 521, the job president. Today I'm representing several departments, including water, storm, sanitation, street, recreation, planning, redevelopment service, airport, animal control, as well as supporting fire and police department. These departments provide essential services to the community. These services will be delayed or significantly reduced in the upcoming months if effective action is taken by leaders. Due to poor financial decisions made by the city, employees are facing ultimatums to either accept a salary reduction for an unknown period of time or fake layoffs. Unnecessary spending continues with the 405 route. Community service for solution, but not at the expense of taxpayers. Citizens serve essential services and adequate public safety. Strong leadership is required from the council. I urge you to make informed decisions and consider the needs of citizens for finalizing the budget when the United States.
Thank you, Mr. Aguilar. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Lee to be followed by Karen.
Oh, please, we hold off.
Getting. There's a fundamental city. We don't have leadership and being completely mismanaged. 2 years ago at the police department, we were finally making a competitive salary was voted by the council. We attract multiple experienced officers who all came here and make their home. Not our officers who lived in Hollister who were finally able to come here and work because we had competitive salary. We staffed swing shift. We forced overtime down. Response times improved. Practice on the rise. The city was safe. Every single department in the city was brought because the decisions made by those councils. The decision policies of the council, however, and the city manager have undone all of that progress and threatened to do further harm. We are mired in unnecessary bureaucracy red tape. You've made your employees of this city fearful of their jobs. You turn around soon and would have the city manager and the city council govern without enough experience to achieve any of your goals at all. And what's your legacy going to be at that point? Your city employees are a special group. Overs into the cage get the job done. Even when we be told publicly by members of this council online, we will continue to do our job. We crave leadership. We want to be a trusted. We desire effective and responsible management, and we need you to prove to us you are better than this.
Thank you, sir. Next. Okay. I'm going to ask you hold off your applause, please. Because
You want me to jump in?
Yeah.
I will. So, procedures for dealing with disruptions. You've given at least 2 warnings, Mayor. The initial disruptions, the second warning, people now bored to leave. In addition, we can't do the room of everybody except for the press. If the public counts in this meeting of council in front of the public, it's a meeting of the public in front of council.
Oh, so we hold on our applause, and please respectfully ask everybody to hold off applause so we can listen to our speakers. Okay, please go. Sir, say your name and okay with your comment.
Hi, Councilman. My name is Marilyn Roderick. I'm a resident of Hollister and also a representative of CU 51. I'm here to scout against the threat of the city of Hollister's financial management posed to public services, our community, and AIU leadership. 10% pay cut or mass layoffs isn't just workers, it put the whole community at risk. Cuts like these lead to delays, breakdowns, and serious public health risks. Until the financial transparency, real accountability, these cuts be directed. Workers, residents deserve better. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Water. Speaker.
The next speaker is Adoa to be followed by Venezuela.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Itla Ochoa. I represent CIU. I also represent the Animal Control. My department is incredibly unique in that we straddle 2 unions, CIU and HOA. You're not asking us to cut percent of all departments within those unions. How my department, who is 4 full-time staff, going to cut percent of our staff, or have 10% of our cuts, our salary cuts that we are absolutely guaranteed we're going to see back? How do you guys square that?
Thank you, Mitchell. Next speaker.
Next speaker, Nessa to be followed by Leah Brandt.
Hi, I'm Vanessa, and I still want to be here. That is a collaboration to everybody. There really is a economic opportunity for our town. It draws investors from all over in the revenue to our business, from hotels, restaurants, gas stations, and shops. While we always track the exact number, we know the past experience that the disposable income directly benefits our city's budget. However, we also do to recognize that the economic recovery through the like the rally could cruise to the city, especially in light of the current financial challenges we're facing. If we generate taxable revenue from Valley, that revenue directly helps support essential services, including the public safety, without burdening the already overstrained budget. In a way to help fund services we all rely on with the need drastic cuts, layoffs that could affect the well-being of our community. While I understand that the challenges are faced with the proposed budget cuts are potential layoffs, I believe that the off a practical solution. By bringing visits and spending spending, Valley can help generate revenue need to support the research that are at risk. This is why it's a chance for all of us to work together, work smarter, using Valley to boost our local economy and help fund essential service without being back on the services that keep us safe. I also know that the public safety and emergency services are of utmost importance. Rally and actually help sure that the services. Thank you.
And famous Next speaker.
The next speaker, Julia Brent to be followed by Mia Casey.
I'm Mayor and the Council. I've been Hollister, not within the limits. My name is Julia. I'm a community member here for 11 years. I'm a biker. I'm a business owner, but first and foremost, I'm a single mother of a firefighter. While I have supported the rally so far in the many years in the past, I'm torn. I'm not agree with financial cuts, fire, police, first responders, or any of our city or county employees. These are areas that should not ever be cut. Paying me hundreds of thousands of dollars for a biker rally and getting funding to the aforementioned entities is not only irresponsible, but also puts community safety as well as our first responders at risk, takes away people's livelihoods. There are alternatives to the city paying for rally on their own. I know that Mayor Stevens was on Facebook talking about sponsors. I've heard of any sponsors, and it'd be nice to know who sponsors are and how much they're sponsoring. Mike Corbin has an event at his business every year. Let him do that. I think handles it quite well. Let Hollister Power Sports hold their own event. I still support the rally, but like I mentioned, I am torn. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. Next speaker.
The next speaker is Casey, to be followed by Laura.
Sorry, I didn't stand there. I'm cut short. You got giving me 1.5 minutes. Folks have said a lot already, so I don't get. There's a lot of place to cut. Staff, the very last thing that you look at. If you have to cut memberships, if you have to cut travel and conference, you have to cut anything but that. So the only thing I want to mention, we've talked about the rally, and I won't repeat what I've said, but I see the promotional video came out yesterday, and I was a little curious about it because at the city logo, I just wondered if it was seeing the council through, the city manager okayed. But in it, you did talk about coverage by sponsors, the whole cost for the rally, and I'd like to do a list. I'd really like to know. I think the public would like to know. I think it would put their minds at ease if it truly is going to be paid for by sponsors. Also, I want to talk about the mention of millions of dollars for the rally. I think it's not really a support idea. Memo came from the former city manager, Brett Miller, was asked to look at costs for the rally 2013 to 2017. I think you'll see, I'm going to run out of time here, I'm not going to list them all, but they ranged from $50,000 to a negative $33,000. We've never made millions and millions, so I just want to set some realistic expectations. I would invite you to read that memo. Hopefully it'll guide you.
Thank you, Casey. Next speaker.
The next speaker, Laura, to be followed by Rick Perez.
Good evening, council members and fellow residents. Loretta Ina, I'm a Hollister resident. I've been here for over 30 years. Come to you tonight, not to be hostile, with concern. As stewards of the city, we must hold each other accountable when decisions made that affect the livelihood of our residents and integrity of community. Right now, the proposed to spend $500,000 on a motorcycle rally and event with no guarantee on investment raises serious questions about fiscal responsibility. At a time when pay cuts, potential layoffs are being discussed for our very dedicated city staff, this move not only feels ill-advised, frankly, very tone-deaf. Our employees are the backbone of this city. They show up every day and keep our safe, park clean, and our services running. To even consider cutting the pay while simultaneously investing in a very speculative event is the wrong message about your priorities. I understand the desire to bring vibrancy and tourism into our city. I really do. But good ideas must be backed by sound business planning and evidence that you have not provided, and not just with hope or hype. This council is still used for lane great time. This council is still in that with a lane curve, but inexperience not an excuse for judgment.
Thank you, Ms. Ina. Appreciate it. Thank you. Can we have next speaker?
The speaker is Rick Perez, to be followed by Kelly.
Evening, so Dolores. It's pretty simple. I think it all goes back to our city. Your character and the way you handled that situation. I look at it, when you guys came in office, did you hit ground running, or did you want to pause and get some information on the fire track? Seriously, it's been a topic for how long? How many years now? And you come off it, you don't know what's going on. You guys haven't caught up, and you're way behind. And the decisions you make, you're going to job. And you personally have to take down the around the city. I remember when we voted the contract to initiate the calculation 70. You were been a bit to get it. We couldn't take a vote because already wanted split, and you were first started. Then you go behind closed doors with you, Mayor, and you should stay from contracts. That's it.
Okay, Mr. Councilor Sanders, you please not.
Okay.
Councilor Sanders, can you add about 15 cents to Mr. Perez's comment? Okay, let's just not do, please. Mr. Perez, Mr. Perez, please go ahead, sir. Please go ahead. We're going to.
I got just an apology. What do you guys?
Okay, so Mr. Perez, can you make your comments to us? Can you please? Okay, we're gonna. Mr. Perez, please go ahead with comments. We're going to 15 more seconds and then ask you. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
This is exactly my thing. This is our leadership. Now, this is our leaders. You know what? And doing these contract negotiations that you know nothing about. Being back to the table and look, at 1 point more.
Thank you, Mr. Perez. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
The next speaker, Eva.
Thank you, Mr. Perez.
Speaker, Eva, to be followed by Josh Bida.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and City Council. Eva Lee, I'm your plan manager, and I'm here to represent the Mid-Management Association. We are open members of your management team, represented across the intercity community development, public works, engineering, recreation, and police. And I'm just here to, in light of the council's budgetary concerns coming to light, seek to and request the council to consider the cuts that are not against staff that have been suggested by your executive management and your staff teams, including contractor reduction in costs that could be saved, and you preserve services by funding the staff positions or just purely save to also encourage the council to consider that the budget cuts and concessions that you're asking of staff are going to come at the back of staff who's already overburdened vacancies, covering other positions, and there are no expectations in staff. You can understand that it feels that the council does not understand and have a true evaluation of the impacts that are come for services, cutting staff, or just burning staff with additional vacancies and additional work when we lose the positions, while there are other options for saving money. So we've talked about that. Ally.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Lee. Appreciate it. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Josh Zetta.
Good evening. As the president of Hollister Firefighters Union and an employee for many years, served this city through the 2008 session, a local moratorium, and the days of vaccinator term COVID pandemic. Through it all, many others in this room persevered with great commitment to the community. But I stand before you tonight to say that I've never seen how this low, and I've never seen the mistrust in the city so broken. City employees, firefighters, officers, maintenance workers, clerks have stood up here and discussed their voices about layoffs and cuts. Hopefully those don't fall on fears. Your actions to recent resolutions, repeal the general plan, and now off the civil employees have instilled the mistrust and mismanagement of you up there. You guys use phrases like, we need work to get with the city. Collaborative efforts. Those are just words. What are the actions? And now public safety and essential services are being used as bargaining chips for problems that we create. We, the Hollister Firefighter Union, we stand united with the Hollister Police Association and local CIU 521. We are frustrated, we're angry, and we demand change. Your mismanagement has consequences. You're just balancing spreadsheets, gambling with safety, our residents, and livelihood of our hardworking employees and the city of Hollister.
Thank you, Mr. Rosetta.
This Hollister is better. We demand it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Next speaker. Please hold on your please. Speak, please.
Next speaker is Amanda Nadia.
Hello, never hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, council members, mayor. My name is Seth Unia. I've been Adam Hollister and the County of San Benito for over 5 years. Our division recently experienced a 50% staff reduction. Animal control now operates only one officer, officer assistant, supervisor, a part-time assistant, and a support services assistant to service all of San Benito County. The reduction in staffing has been close to the all-time lowest staff level of 2021, where the animal shelter was operating an officer assistant take on the role as an officer, a supervisor, and a support services assistant. This minimal staff was responsible for following: cleaning animals, feeding animals, administering medications, monitoring animals' health and behavior, socializing animals, transporting animals to and from vet grooming appointments, processing private information for resident pets, taking complaints from public, dispatching ourselves to calls, handling field services, coordinating with rescue fosters, volunteers, plethora of different areas where we occur. In 2021, the only really animal control staffing was the closure of the night kennels. This alone is not enough for staff to operate efficiently. Sleep deprivation, compassion fatigue, and depression were the results. The city needs to ensure this never happens again. Thank you for your time.
Ms. Mendy.
The next speaker is Eli Harvey.
Good evening, Council. This is Eli Harvey. Today, former animal services officer for the Hollister Police Department. Very saddened by what is happening. I was sad that I had to leave, but it's those things where animal control just wasn't making enough. It's truly sad that we do a lot of work now. My workers are faced to deal with this at time. It's truly that they could losing their jobs, and so I'm just asking that the council just be very mindful of what's going on now and where animal control is at. The best time for animal control. I'm part of that. The staff there will do everything to make sure that the animals are safe and do all they can to make sure that animals are okay.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Next speaker.
Okay, the next speaker is Vince Green.
Good evening. Vince Hall Firefighters Association Vice President. Couldn't have said it eloquently in President. All your employees here are absolutely backbone of the city. Okay. They uphold a lot of professionalism, make this city go around to keep the short. We started a vote no confidence on the city manager. All Firefighters Association did last month. The vote was unanimous, 100%. Do we have confidence in actions? So what are your response? I'm sending you guys the letter. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gruel. Next speaker.
Those will speak for this side.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're gonna go on to our agenda and lieu of the budget item up to now. So we're gonna let the staff report on the budget proposal and then the budget presentation, and we'll move on with the agenda item. Let me get that so I can read it. So go to point one, informational report regarding development of the fiscal year 2025-26 budget. Prior to budget hearing scheduled for June 9th. Can we start for it?
Thank you, Mayor. Are we? Right, maybe if we shrink the little Zoom boxes and take it to one, maybe block some lights. Okay, thank you. Okay, so tonight we'll provide an update on the budget development following the last meeting. We'll give you general history, status, financial audits, recent discoveries of budgeted, unbudgeted, and unposed transactions and impact of the budget. New project update for further reduce expenses, discussion and direction for the upcoming budget hearings. So we've been having going multi-year discussions regarding budgetary challenges the city's facing. On May 19th, we brought to your attention of a recent discovery in May. Some prior year expenses that had been posted to the general ledger, as well as some under budgeting in your UAL, which is your PERS pension debt. So that we were aware and going through that, we would have looked to additional cuts for approximately 10% to 17.5%. So I wanted to provide a 5-year general fund summary, starting with 2021, talk about audits a little bit. This is your actuals. This is across general fund. And so I have a couple highlight squares I just highlight for ease of discussion. So we look at revenues in 2021, not budgeted. This is actual. You ended up bringing in $33 million with expenses of $31 million. In 2022, brought in 43 pilot area there that shows significant one-time revenues, including your permits and use asset, which was your sell or your buyout for your antennas up at Park Hill. There was buyout lease there, and so the actual in the year was $39 million. So I could see gone up $1 million from year over year. In 2023, you brought in $50.6 million. However, 9.7 of that was American Rescue Plan Fund. That was one-time revenue provided by the federal government to offset the impacts of COVID-19. In that year, your actuals were $50.1 million. And so if you could just, the revenue versus actual, you came in $457,000 above. Your revenue was higher than expenses. However, you were to take out American Rescue Plan, you would have $9 million from revenue versus expenses. Your actual 23-24 back to $44 million, but your actual expenses in 23-24 were $49.7 million. We brought budget forward to you. We had identified that challenges and showed the difference and showed that you were going to be leaning heavily on your reserve to get through that time, and we had to skim then. Your budget for this year is at $50 million revenue. You did as part of strategies, you had one-time dollars available, and that's where you got yellow square on $60 million. As far as your budget for expenses, it was budgeted $50 million. As you can see, costs across different categories. The budget is broken out into 5 different cost centers: personnel, service and size, contractual, capital, and other expenses. So let's leave it there to give you a moment if you have any questions. If not, we can come back to it.
Yeah, I'm going to ask council to just get their just together, and then we'll pose it.
We talked the last or meetings ago for bid strategies where you saw the positions increase across the city. Obviously, a need for positions. I would frame it. We still in need of positions. We did have in the 23-24 budget request for almost 30 positions that we cannot approve based on the shortfall that we identified previously. So I want to highlight and echo the sentiment staff. There's a lot of work out there, and staff are going quite a bit trying to get work done. To take a second on financial audit stats. So staff are in the process of providing final responses to the auditors on 21-22 audit. Emails and back and forth on it. They confirmed late July final review date. That usually takes something a half or so. We were expecting it sooner. Unfortunately, this was the date I received last week. They are working currently to prepare for upcoming audits last year, or the budget year, to help with that, as well as curtail to assist some of the reconciliation and back through and getting things cut up. Concurrently, they're working backwards and to find any mistransactions they have been not processed. That was we'll talk about on the way. They have gone through and clarified all that processes were into place in 2024 with the addition of staff to address that. However, we're working in a situation where sort of a year ago you were in receiving your fiscal year 2021 audit. Typically, you're receiving those in your third quarter, and you're budget based on audit financials. We are working to address multiple findings that have outlined our auditors for use, and I'm going to go through some of those. These data processes procedures should help the expediency of audits of 23-24. That's a lot of the process started taking place and in future audit. For example, and in financial backup documents in the financial system. The challenge staff face now, you've had massive turnover and staff are digging through box trying to find a document that they hope this may not exist. And at the time, it was right around the time the period during the pandemic as well. And so it's a challenge. You have staff that either did not work here or may have been remote, trying to find documents or give justification to an auditor why budget said $40,000, but their expenses were $80,000. I think Sean had to request. And so we have to dig and do the research on that. So although the 21-24 Act, that's your financial report, financial audit, received a clean, when you see the word unmodified, that's a clean opinion. Both that report and the single audit, so a single audit is required when you have a federal revenue over $750,000. Typically, you're going to see grants it just over that scale, or by nature of having an airport, you typically see it after a single audit. Those audit finds include, and just a second. And these are repeat finds. Information technology, cost allocation plan, how the census data was being calculated for your retiree health, procurement support, payroll liabilities, and activity and closed funds. For single audit, financial closing material weeks, repeat finding, processes identified for closing financial report fiscal years were not effective cash handling, accounts receivable, notes receivable, other assets, capital assets, prepaid lease revenue, accounts payable, compensated absences, grant receivable and revenue, and various incorrect postings. This is from 2021. Additionally, a finding of grants, just the management of grants, notes receivable, cash and bank reconciliation, schedule of expenditure, federal award, and financial report timeliness. So a review of the document condition will highlight the condition that it's caused significant delay. We said we'd have a team on board, and I'm talking to additional audit support teams to try some additional help to get the caught up. Will show those have been repeat findings for multiple years. So we talked about the last meeting. I had this slide, which is unfunded accrued liability for pension by retirement plan. So this way to think about it is pension debt. If you had 0 employees, you're still paying. There's there's contribution that the city and employee, the city and employee make for employees, and then as folks retire, then essentially the different that PERS has to pay and what they have for your piece of the pool of the plan, it's billed to the city, and they go through an actuarial process. And see increase there in 23-24, just shy of $3 million. That rises to $4 million in 25-26, and as you can see, that keeps working its way up. I brought forward in September a financial tool called the Section 15 Trust. All that is the investment vehicle. We have not funded it yet. We'll not be in a position to fund it yet, but what that does allow you to put dollars aside for grow those dollars, and they only be used for your OPEB, which is other post-employment benefits, or your pen or pen debt. And so those were something that we're working on put in place to start aiming towards this, because this is going to be a problem. We're seeing across many of these in jurisdictions. This is not unique to the city of Hollister. So I want to talk about the impact on the budget and future budgets. So, excuse me. We met with, I mentioned that we had unposted transaction that we were working through. That mean 2 weeks ago, those transactions have been posted shortly before that meeting, about 4:45. We did meet with employer groups to walk through this. I'm going to walk through how I walk through them, something that I do, and wanted to do it as well. So for position, just real quick for the benefit of the public, you have your beginning fund balance. That's what basically you start with. It's brand new. You start with either 0 or whatever you started your C with. What brought in, what's your revenue, what's your expenses, what you have left. And then you essentially start the next year with what you ended last year with, similar to, it's standard bidding. And so at the end of 2021, you had $6.7 million. As you go to the next year, you start with that. You had a stronger year. You did with 10.8. You start with 10.8. There's that year where you had $50 million of revenue with rescue per month, so that you had 11.9. Then you get to the next year. That's where you come down to 7. And then this year, you would start with 6.2 to 6.3. One of the items we have done is just shifted dollars to restricted reserve as part of the budget year. In our 22-23 approved budget, there was direction given add the reserves. That was not done. We went in and did the work to get it to close to what that level was, or for the rainy day fund to go to. There was discussions of going 300,000 to $1 million, 3 million back to, and was all said and done, remained unchanged at 300,000. So that's where we see the difference, because it was from unassigned fund balance to restricted reserves. So I wanted to point that out. That restricted reserve right now is $20 million in addition to the estimated fund balance. So then we talk about postings, and essentially to give a quick idea of how it works. When a check is issued in your system, you code it to the proper account. A check is issued, expense hits the account. With PERS, they don't wait for you to cut a check. They come in your account or into your bank account and get it. And then staff's responsibility is to go in and post that accordingly. We have a mechanism in place to help offset the cost. It was developed in 2015-16. That's when PERS changed to the UAL having the position of what is now where you get flat rate. Was a result of PEPRA and pension reform. So what was happening is it had a contribution rate was on employer side, just kind of off that a percentage of salary that going into basic liability account that helps offset costs. So they're going to bill us, and then a deduction at every payroll from the employee. It's more employer side going to offset. They were set up 2015-16 and weren't addressed. And so what we've gone through with the staff and updated all that. That's something that as new employees or employees leave, that should be updated. And so we were able through an audit with myself and the finance team to discover that had not been updated. We since update that. I've been serving in the role. We speak of vacancy. I've been serving the role finance director as well in an interim role since early May, and was able to identify what the staff and brought to your attention immediately as well in employee groups. So what does that effect do? Well, you go 6.7 and you work your way down. Eventually, your ending fund balance goes to 3.1. So go back, you were at 5.5 million, 3.1, because those costs have hit as expense. And so that has been done, as well as some merchant fee adjustments. One of the other items that we're working to correct during the pandemic was a decision made in effort to incentivize people from our customers from coming to the office. The decision made to turn off the fee that is usually passed on to a customer using their credit cards. So you scan it, you swipe your card at the MV for $100, you see charges in their account. $100, $250 for convenient fee. That one base, that means weaker the fee. And so something that was years ago, working with the provider as we speak to get back on, not as simple as a flip switch, but we're working diligently to get turned on because paths will be borne by the customer. And so I want to also, the same slide, there's a scenario, a big red line across there, so you don't think that that's the actual position. What I did is I took out the SKU $10 to show by the end of 2024, end of 2023, actually, had those dollars been out, you'd be $1.3 million ending balance then. And then have the rebudgeting based on what the actual condition was in 23-24. You can see we were able to hold spending flat from 2023 to 2024. So with revenue projections, as we mentioned, where I did the little yellow square, and we mentioned it in budget this year, that we were using one-time revenue in an effort to stave off any staff impacts as was work to get revs right and to bring expenses down. But you can't keep spending the same money twice. You can't use on one-time revenue as ongoing. And I think as you start to dig back in those budgets, you see patterns of a one-time revenue becoming the norm going forward. So you have a huge building that goes in and you build permit revenue. You're not going to get that the next year, right? You're going to have big increases where you see, like when Amazon building built, those types of fees, those type of impact fees. You can plan that in perpetuity. The property tax continues to increase, fortunately, by anywhere 5 to 6% annually. It's still strong. Sales tax and Med W projections remain flat. I'm going to take a minute to address your W. I have heard about request an advisory committee, or an oversight, excuse me, that was approved in 2021 and has, I don't know if it was the pandemic or what, has never seen. So that's something that is required and will be bringing back an item for you to consider to form that. So the action was brought forward in 2021, but the actual scene of numbers and that type of work has been. On June 16th, we'll be using a year fee schedule and impact fee schedules to you for consideration with annual CPI, consumer price index adjustment. That is something that is and should be done annually. And then the enterprise rate study are having to update the numbers based on the debt layer situation, and we're working with our vendor to get it finalized, and we'll bring you back after the summer, the July week. Steps to evaluate the special permit fee structure as current price of $111, not cut the city actual cost by a significant margin. So we have various arrays, events, farm markets, different types of events. Those are under a fee, a special event permit. This is a complicated one, depending on the type of event it is. So staff work together. A lot of different departments are involved in that. And so something we would forward to you consideration. But, you know, have some of these events where, you know, we have the public work team is setting up barricades and all of that. And the cost of staff time and at time materials is nowhere near the amount that we're charging. That comes in operations is for us to do all that study work and bring back to you. Policy decisions to say, we want to go for price, or we want to adjust it to encourage activity. That is something that we'll be on and bring forward to you. I want to bring this forward. We talked about this in December. However, that was prior to the transition to the City Council. We talked about different ways that you can also increase revenue. Sales tax measure. Do have some room there that you could discuss. Your sales tax. There's a lot behind that, and to get the public on board. Transient occupancy tax. That went to the voters when we talked in December. It just passed. That takes effect in July. We talked about different types of business improvement districts, PBID with Property and Business Improvement District, Business-Based Improvement District, Tourism Improvement District. The council had provided some support to visit San Benito, who is doing that work. We worked with the consultant to provide them with some data. You approved a non-disclosure agreement, and that Civic Process Group has been working with them to start all the data together in that process. These are tough to pass. These were typically passed 30, 40 years ago. They were typically passed by a council, and so when it went to the vote, they had a low likelihood of passing. This comes tax on your utilities that also gets passed on to the city. If you look at there's surrounding cities, many of them have them, and it's a significant source of their general fund revenue, sometimes 10 to 15, 17% of their general fund revenue. This is something that we don't have. Gilroy has one, Monty has one, Salina has one, and you see that as something that really helps to boost your revenue. The Enterprise Fund rate, I spoke about that. Airport rent study, so the Port Direct's working on that. We've had negotiation of new leases you've seen forward, and then the sale of city and property, looking at 9 Maple. We have had interested folks. We haven't listed for sale yet or anything like that. Going through, a process that, and bring that back to you for your consideration. But I get those meetings, the authority to at least start that procedure and start going through that. Typically, you start an appraisal. So expense projection, we talked about this last meeting. So these are some ongoing and some one-times. So ongoing insurance premiums are $890,000. We did receive our public safety answering point, the bill from the county, that was about $500,000 for, and I don't have it here in front of me, about 6 or 7 years of contracted service. We'll be working with them to discuss that, but does have annual price tag about $100,000 this next year. A few years ago, when the landfill was a discussion, there was talk about, and I think it was a size sum, but that city does own about 5 acres at the John Smith landfill. It closed in 1982, and there are permit requirements, permit requirements, well monitoring. Ms. William over at Public Works worked them. The 10-year permit on it is about $300,000. So that's what they've given us as the estimate. It deposit. So they work against that. Per world, it comes in less, but the initial dollar amount they've given us $300,000. Hollister Arms Incentive loan repayment. So when the boot barn, TJ Maxx, all of the area, that section right there open, that triggered incentive payment of roughly $1 million. And so that was framed at thing that went back in and corrected our budget. And so we corrected that. And we have to do is each year, 75% of the sales taxes generated go back to the storm fund until the loan is paid off. We have it budgeted at approximately $4,000 this year. As the site grows, there is some vacant land and businesses that are in construction, then that would accelerate payoff that. Inflation impacts of obviously increased costs across all funds. Then the Yale pension debt that we discussed. I've been working with CAPR to see if there'd be a hard exception, and I'm waiting to back them on. Examples of efforts are further risk expenses. We talked about the potential elimination of a majority of vacant positions, resulting in nearly $6 million of general fund savings, including projections, discussions with employee associations and groups regarding potential cost-saving measures with priority to preserve jobs as we navigate current challenges. The Parks and Public Works, both Charles and Wim have been working collaboratively to look at sharing some based tasks, reduce costs, how those get maintained. The Recreation Department has been looking at ways to significantly reduce activities, the activities it sponsors and hosts. Early this year, your council ended the discretionary fund program and is not included in this next upcoming budget. The T Department has completed comprehensive review of city devices to ensure data plans are not activated on dormant devices, and some cost-saving plans that he's got on the subscription and how it's work that save estimated $40,000 across all funds. And then our city clerk been working on a tool to put the public record requests to do some screening, initial screening that will help reduce our attorney review by approximately budget $60,000. We'll see how it plays out. As you know, we quite a few public records requests. They're all staff time. Those are all significant amounts of looking for data, digging for data, and then reviewing the screen and making sure it's actually a response document and providing it to the requester. So we're looking at ways to use technology to help that solution. Examples of additional strategies to reduce expenses: the reduction of training and conference budgets only include critical training needs with focus on public safety and critical infrastructure, reduction or elimination of council member travel occasions. I talked to Trey Note about a reevaluation of animal control agreement and how we provide that service. A potential renegotiation, a joint use agreement with the Hollister School Districts for Parks, currently fund about $350,000 of general fund as part of that agreement that's been ongoing for a very long time. I have to look at the expenses, the costs associated with Hollister Independence Rally. We have estimated net expense of approximately about $150,000. Working sponsorships, donations, the registrations, the vendor sales, the business license tax, the business license that comes through, and that overall brings in, it all plays out, the sponsorships, close to, that would be close to about $450,000, and would offset overall costs could range from $100,000 to $6,000 of cost across the board. So we're working diligently at that. And they have the 4th of July fireworks show at Veteran Park, approximately $5,000 for fireworks, portable restroom staff, and other costs. The contract for firework display needs to be signed if proceeding. So these are items you give us direction on as ways to further reduce budgetary constraints for this year. Overall, estimated projected revenues with all of the adjustments and reduction of one-time revenue is $43.3 million. Projected expenses at $47.3 million. That does include UA projections, which across all funds is roughly about $3 million. And so projected general fund shortfall that we are aiming to close or to get close to closing and bent to potentially use some balance savings is out $1 million. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you for that detailed presentation. So questions from council? Questions, council? Go ahead, Councilmember Morales.
Thank you, David, for that very thorough presentation. So I have a question. Can you share what it costs? So I did see recommendations to look at object expenditures and that you've asked departments for 10%. Have you looked at our meet that and how that will impact not only staffing but our service to the community?
Yeah, so the department have all continuously proposed. They've been proposing even prior to the adjustment with the UL. And so we've did everything to city attorney costs, with solutions like Jennifer looking at, and all contracts, everything across the board. Everything has been looked at through a fine-comb department, or continuously bringing estimates. And Sean, the one that's here today, Sean, earlier today, in discovering additional ways to save. I think the department's all done a great job providing recommendations. It's not an easy task. I think when you had such a significant jump and built on time revenues, that we have to look at. I mean, you simply can't balance. I cannot bring budget ends in a negative balance.
Completely with that. I also like to see, it doesn't have to be right now, but we have the couple of meetings, opportunities for revenue and grants. So that will have a negative impact on the day in terms of ongoing. I understand some of those issues. But, and so potential partnership with, any jurisdiction, any opportunities to state or federal level. I know that the federal level right now has hardships, but definitely opportunities at the state level, even through foundations or other places. If you can, has leadership been cut? Is that part of the equation?
We can't talk about anything related to labor negotiations. I believe the same 10% is being asked of everybody.
Okay, you don't have to go into further detail. And then
Discussions we had with every single group. And I'd have a discussion with the fire union president as well as commands.
And give us a total of it would cost if city council to completely eliminate the stipend independence. What would that amount be?
For free. I can pull that. And
I think
if you get a moment, I have it.
Yeah, that'd be important for us to know and some for us to consider as well. I'm really glad we are going to be bringing the 21 subcommittee. If that's going to help the community build systems of government, and we're seeing funds that pass over there. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Morales. Other questions, comments? I'll check Vice Mayor.
I just have a questions. So sometimes we get this information at the same time as the public because it takes time to compile, right? So saying at the exact same time. Some people want to know, like, it sounds like it's been a while since the city passed an audit. When was the last time we did that we entered into one and we successfully passed it?
So then ongoing, you can't start one until you complete the last one. So in the end of May, the 2021 audit was completed, and that work started again and have been ongoing for the 21-22 year. Mm-hmm. And so that's where we brought in Baker Tilly to assist and the accountant to help out with that. We're a basic city with a county manager and county techs, not accountants. Their role is to simply process, journal entries, post revenues, expenses, and through that process. One of the challenges this year too is in fiscal year 21-22. There was a GASB, which is, sets rules how to list all of your leases in your audits. And so staff have to do a tremendous amount of work to identify the leases and ensure that they have everything in there to get them into audit. That's a new audit requirement that cities were already, these counties had dealt with. Unfortunately, the status of those audits being a few years back, that also has that time because not only have to do all normal, it's gathering all of the leases. Now, the good thing is the leases then can carry forward into future years. And staff have been ensuring that the clerk has copies of all, basically all leases, they go forward as well. And so goal is correcting the best practices should help with the audit going forward. That's what the challenge is how it ran for. Simply don't, you're over the trying to find the records, which slows everything down, especially when, many staff do.
What are some of the things that we're making challenging to pass the audit? What do you mean by the way city would run?
Well, how it's more the record keeping. So if they're going to ask, part in there is procurement. So they're going to randomly sample transactions, and they test the transactions against your processes and procedures. So if you have purchased that's $50,000 and it's for supplies for the wastewater plant, then your procurement policy is going to dictate whether you have to have 3 quotes, an informal bid, a regular bid, all those different types of procurement methods. Then what you do is they test the transaction against procurement method to make sure that you get it. Because have policies in place. Now, what's easy to I'll just get it from the same vendor I get them all the time and just a check and swipe it on my card. Those things end up being audit fines because A, you didn't competitively bid it, and B, you follow your purchase policy. Because purchase policy on a the limits that certain level of staff have to make the types of purchase. And that's what audits tell you, is that the processes were not being followed and had not followed. I mean, you can the federal greenhouse and look up. They're there. It's public record.
Okay, so for that. And what not having passed an audit for multiple years? Okay,
so it can impact a wide variety of items. It impacts your ability to grant. It impacts your ability to borrow money. It impacts your credit rating. Impacts public transparency, trust, as you're in the evening. Many different things, but primarily, your ability to your budget as well, because you're spending quick when you're multiple years behind on your budget. Because you saw through demonstration where you have a transaction of $100. When you have a big one, it's going to follow itself all the way through your start point. So if it's a couple years behind and $100,000, that $100,000 is going to follow. You have $100,000 less to work with.
Yeah, thank you for that presentation, by the way. Thank you. I appreciate you doing that. That was really enlightening for all of us. The thing that really stood out to me was 43.3 million. You tracked the 7.3 out, and it looks like how much? We're in the about 4 million.
So a projected shortfall of $4 million. Now, what that in the past is you've had where cities, counties will do some deficit spend where you know, $1 million your general fund a little bit or $500,000, that type of thing, but you have to have it to be able to do it, right? So if you fund balance of $20 million, say, well, this is a tough year, we're lean on it, we do this, we end the year with, if all goes well according to your budget, then you're going to end the year with $16 million. And that's what you've had in previous years where there was, basically the awakening of you're now at $50 million. And that's where I actually went from in 30s, the 40 to the 50 in 3 years, and your revenue was not there. Your revenue is either rescue plan or some one-time revenue. Your revenue is growing at that.
And it sounded to me like it was, due a UAL, an unfunded actuarial liability.
So that in addition to, so we're already on that path. That path that we've been talking about for last year or two. What UAL does, you talk about issues with the audit, and you can back to old presentations where I said one of the challenges you have with behind an audit is you have a transaction out there that completely changes your financial position. And I've said that publicly multiple times. That's unfortunately that's what that is. And so when that happened, I've worked with the staff and I received assurances that they have, they're proceed forward to the old way of catching up that have so I am very hopeful that I'm not bringing you surprises like this. This is not a position that I ever hope to be in, to bring you something like this. But I have to bring it. I brought it to you, I brought it to the employees, and I brought it to here. I want you to see what we talked about with the employees, and that's something that I let them know that I do.
Okay, my last one, when did that information strike home with you specifically?
So with me specifically, the last date for staff to get their budget entries in. So I'll take that back. How budget built is with projections. The finance department will say, here's cost staff, with all different retirement and all different elements that go to staffing. And top of that, you have a goal. So staff for $5 million, your goal is $10 million. You have $5 million outside personnel. The staff key in that side, the finance department keys in the salary personnel. And that's standard practice. Usually budget office key those numbers. I received notification that our finance directors last day would be May 2nd. Those entries were due May 5th. I did ask the departments they could accelerate that and get done May 2nd. So I would have the benefit of doing it over the weekend. They're kind enough to get those entries in. Once I ran all those reports, seeing that the UAL is a $4 million flat payment and looking at the retirement costs that were budgeted and provided to staff, it was very easy to see that full amount was not budgeted. Therefore, staff were given a dollar amount that was, quite honestly, was lacking. If you take that $4 million, roughly $3 million was not included. So you should see that total. And when I threw and did the work, I noted it wasn't there. Worked with the team to identify it. I went through all their records with them, had a bunch of meetings here, kind of identify how that was discovered, and they had some work already done that they had been discussing with their team. We got all paired, and we ended it, then to the council meeting. It was as quick as we get it in, so we understood full impatient. I mean, it's basically a giant journal entry, so there's work behind that you have to get. And so the staff then they shot a message 4:45 or so on Monday, and was able to bring that forward to you to discuss.
So that was about a month ago, they figured out that, we were facing the unfunded actuarial liability.
Well, that weekend, as I started to go through it, there's still, once you see an anomaly, you still have to go digging and searching, and it's easy to see, okay, there's an issue. Then you have to do the work to figure out where the issue, where the disconnect, what work has to be done, journal have to be prepared. So, I brought that to you 2 weeks ago, which is, if I remember correctly, the 19th, and that was brought forward. So all the work had been done and prepared and confirmed and posted on the 19th.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you tell us when you might be hearing from us on the hardship assessment, putting the notes related to UL, and when you think you get that answer, and could that and so how would that impact our current budget if we were to get that? I guess it's some kind of exemption or some justification due to hardship adjustment.
So the initial call is they have a program where they can adjust it. It's actual adjustment. That was the route, and it's on the website, so I've reached out to them. That's typically done to shorten the time. So picture if you file your car note and you say, I want to get off 3 years, refinance for 3 years, you're going to have a higher payment and have less interest. So unfortunately, that does help us with a higher payment. So that process, I reached out to them in a few days to get me information back. They typically say 3 to 5 business days. After they got back to me, they mentioned they had a hardship program, which is not on the website. And so I asked them to come in with that. They reached out and connected with me Thursday, Friday to get a little more information. They're supposed to follow him. So that's up there. So it could be, ultimately you're going to can. If they reduce them, then it's not like you're going to up it. So at this point, and even the reps weren't able to explain how is 10%, is 20%, is 30%, but they started the process of me in queue. So
ultimately, the justice means now we're paid her.
Correct. You're not going to get it from your pension.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. I think that might have thought it's something else. Or the hope was that there would be some reduction or elimination of some, I mean, that could help us with the budget, but I think, anyway, okay, so thank you for that. And then I just wanted to check in on your estimate of the insurance premium increase of almost, it's almost $1 million a year. I mean, that's pretty worrying, right? So is there a way to address it in a different way, like negotiate with the insurance company, look for a different insurance company? What are the options? So because that's the increase for next year, and assume that probably will continue to go up. So is there a way to address that, like through the insurance companies, looking at their insurance company, or some other way to be able to deal with that? I don't know how this city of Hollister will continue to sustain increasing costs at that rate. It's going to be unsustainable at some point. So is there a way to something?
We're self-insured through Asia, and so that's 10 cities through a JPA. So what happens is they have your city managers are basically board directors of JA. And so what happens is hire a group called Alliance that acts as the administrator, so the staff to the process. And what they do is they go out and shop insurance policies on behalf of all 10. Then the cost of premiums are basically spread across the 10 cities based on various formula and experience. So as the city has high claims, then you feel that through the experience model, and those claims usually go about a 6-year period. So work our way off. So what you'll see is you'll have a city that has a significant event, right, where all of a sudden the city has a huge maybe disaster or something, a major claim. That claim will follow them for a handful of years because it's all averaged out over a period of time. So essentially what happens is in order to bring those costs down, experience needs to come down. So the less claims we have, the less accidents, the less all those types of issues. And we are a service city. We are the largest city in the group. So we do have cities in the group that have fancy in them, right? So they pay a percentage of the cost. Anytime that you have insurance experience follow you for a handful of years. And then insurance just are all going up. So they go shop the policy for the level of coverage, and then it's defray over all of the disease.
So when you say they shop, who is they?
So that's the administrator of a plan. That's a group called Alliance. So instead of having an employee and hiring and all that's now employee, the whole 9 yards, they end up hiring an administrator. Do this for types of insured cities. It's actually how cities, counties are insured. And so what happens is they're the ones that handle your day, and you have all of the different IRMA was your employment side, you have workers' comp, it's through them, and so you have all the different parties that group handle to handle your different types of insurance.
So I'm going to a question. Is there a way to figure out how to do that every increasing, especially that?
So having your experience low, so more safety, less accidents, those types of things always help. That takes time. Bigger the city, the more opportunities for challenges, for accidents and for claims. Other piece is if you look going to another provider. Remember Shay asked about audit. That's the first thing to look for. So you have a real hard time going to a new provider without an audit because they are going to know what they're sharing.
Okay, thanks for the explanation. I appreciate it. Okay, so we're going to move on then to public comment on this item. So do we need a speaker card?
Yes, Mr. Stevens currently has 6 speakers.
Okay, let's go ahead with 6 speakers, and I think we're going to do the 1.5 minutes for this item as well. So let's go ahead with our speaker.
Okay, the first speaker is Lisa Carrillo, to be followed by State Escoda.
Funding at 6 departments, along with the possibility of wage reduction layoffs. While I understand the need for fiscal responsibility, we must be honest with the real and lasting consequences such decisions will have, particularly on public safety and community well-being. Hollister Police Department is already operating limited staffing and resources. We are not a large department, but we tasked with ensuring safety and security growing city. Requiring for budget cuts or reducing our workforce not only compromises our ability to respond to urgencies, but puts both offices and our community at greater risk. There's a point at which doing more with less becomes simply doing less. At the same time, I'd like to point out a stark contradiction. In 2007, the city of Hollister held a biker rally, which despite vendors and revenue generation, resulted in deficit to the city. With that historical context in mind, it seems fiscally responsible to continue investing in events that drain the resources, especially when we are simultaneously discussing layoffs and wage reductions. Residents all expect and is transparent leadership by elected officials. They all expect and deserve reliable public service, which is currently being compromised. They rely on our police officers, our public works staff, animal control, firefighters, and every department that this city function. To those services will continuing to invest with an economic burden does not reflect fiscal policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cullen. Next here.
The next is State Escoda, to be followed by David Anderson.
Hello, Council and Mayor. My name is Stacey Heather. I'm with the Hollister Officers Association. I've been with the Department of the Police Department for the last 17 years. I've been through quite a bit with the city and have seen a lot. My concerns harken back to 2009. I was one of the individuals was going to be laid off at that point. It's a situation that I'm not going to stand here and play blame because that creates divisiveness and it's distress us with the actual point at hand. The point at hand is we have a responsibility to our community and we have a responsibility to each other, take care of each other. At this, we're not really doing that. And we're not prioritizing what of most importance, which exactly our community and what is that they need in order to keep them protected and filled secure. I think all of your questions are exactly on point as to what you're asking and dancing around the issue, which is how do we think secure enough, You're talking about the insurance. If we have officers that drive 24 hours a day, 7 days, 365 days a year, that are at risk of crashing because they're uncertain, because they're taxed, because they are on overtime hours, because of the situation that they feel insecure, we are at a point to exactly do what your current is, which is to raise that rate. We are in a position right now, we need to prioritize where we're at. Thank you.
Ms. Gabe. Next speaker?
Next speaker is Dave Anderson, we followed B. Moore.
Good evening. My name is Dave Anderson. I'm here as a longtime resident and a longtime member of the Hollister Police Association, and I'm concerned about the budget realities that we face today. So basically, we are seeing about a $0.25 million budget deficit. That's not a projection of our current reality. Yet we continue to spend on discretionary projects as if the budget balanced. Numbers don't lie. In the city, departments hold the 10%. On top of previous reductions, we're near 30% cut across the board in 1 year. It's not sustainable, and it is not responsible governance. It's get to the point of being reckless and irresponsible. And to the mayor's point of reducing the insurance costs, the probably have an event like that, the potential to vastly increase those insurance costs. We should do everything we can at this time to minimize those expenses. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Next speaker?
The next speaker is E. Morgan, we follow Chris Wells.
Good evening, members. I'm speaking tonight as the president of the Hollister Police Association and more importantly, a Hollister resident. Hollister facing a real and serious self-inflicted budget deficit over $4 million. We're still spending like the budget is balanced. We're being asked to absorb even more through furloughs and layoffs or drag pays. Public safety has already touched them. Losing officers to named jurisdictions, response times are increasing, and resources are wearing down. This bid deficit being blamed on a complicated counter error related to caliper UAS. While this may be the case partly, it clearly shows that these staff is unable to complete this basic of a task. What else have they done wrong? And while this is all happening, the city is spending up to $500,000, $600,000 on a day rally. We keep bringing in millions on top of millions, but that doesn't miss the math. With our tax rate, you need tens of millions in low spend, and that's just not realistic.
Thank you, Ms. Morgan. Next speaker?
The next speaker is Chris Wells, to be followed by Mia.
My name is Chris Wells. I'm here on behalf of Hollister Officer Association and also a line runs here. I lived through the 2008-2009 recession. Luckily, it wasn't those that got ink slip, but we made it that. Apartment had cut and cut and cut. We're beating. Can't cut anymore. You have 10%. City manager asked for percent. We gave 10%. He asked for 10%. We gave another %. And now he wants another 7.5%. We don't have it. We just don't have it. We are losing people left and right. We're losing staff left and right because they don't know about their future. They don't know what's going on. And we have city all around us that are to come to us. We will hire you. We will pay you. We value our employees. And here we're telling them, we don't know if you're going to have a job tomorrow. We've got to cut. And we're not going to get a pay rate for who and when because we've got to cut. But let's throw this to a party for the bikes that's going to cost us $500,000. The 21st was Memorial Rally in South Dakota, which ran 10 days and almost half a million NDs. 896 visitors generated only $1.4 million in revenue. To claim our 2-day rally with an estimated 15,000 NDs, we'll see the revenues of 10 days and it's just laughable. We can assume estimates of our rally revenue were made by the same people who are clearly too incompetent to balance these books accurately.
Thank you, Mr. Wells. Next speaker?
The next speaker is Mia C.
I had intended to speak again while the presentation brought up a question for me. So I know you can't necessarily go to them, but I'm going to throw out there for this manner because so got the rate and use study that we've been doing on for a few years now, and it's coming out, and it's very exciting. We have any prediction on how that's going to impact the budget and in what way? Because I know we've been under our rates for a long time, and that brings my other question, which is to do with things like airport rentals, which we've all been talking about in those tools for years. And is there any way to expedite that? I mean, I just like there are things that, if we can try to find money wherever we can find and prioritize that, it can save jobs,
Thank you. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm going to accept some speaker input and move on to decision among council. So, would members of the council to speak on this? Go ahead, Councilmember Bendis.
Thank you, Mayor Stevens. Thank you, Mr. Senator. Thank you to all members of the public for coming here tonight. Can you go back to the slide that shows the aspects with the yellow highlights? And then we'll do that. Remember how many new positions added over the last couple of years? Okay.
Well, 20 projections, really about $162,000 goes to council stipends and health insurance and all of the benefits. 182.
A year?
A year.
Okay.
Collective.
Thanks. While we get that, I'll just remind the public that Councilman Brown is the one that increased the salary for the council.
Okay, let's hold comment on the audience. Thank you.
So this total annual fund, all positions.
Okay, so it was 2022 to 2025 where we're now. So what increase there?
So as of basically you saw growth at the end of 21-22 would have part of approved budget 22-23.
Okay.
That's an increase of about 18 positions.
Okay, so 21 to 24, 25, did you say? 18
No,
positions?
just from one year to next.
Okay.
So when the 22 2023 budget was approved, you have an increase of 8 positions.
Huh.
And then the next year you had 6 positions, and then the next year you had 2.
Okay. So run that again one time. The first one was 16?
18.
18 plus.
You went 18. So in 2020 you added 18 positions.
What's the total? Can you give me the total?
Would be 20 positions.
20 positions. That's what I found. All right. Can we go back to the slide with yellow?
Let me make sure this is right. Yes.
All right. So here we go. 30 million, 30 million, 50 million, 50 million, 50 million. So we went from 30 million in 2020 to 50 million the last 3 years. Is that not correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And if memory is correct, the last years, I voted against every single budget for sound alarms to the fiscal mismanagement and spending. I have to answer the question. Have these colleagues of mine adopt budget?
The members of council that have been here for budget vote are yourself and Councilmember Morales.
Right. So I just say I think it's fair to place blame on the current council. I did hear toward the end of the public comment a little bit more open-minded conversations, working together as a community, facing a problem that we're having. So I really appreciated that, but I don't think it's fair for the public to place blame on this council when they haven't had a chance to stop a budget. They inherited this budget crisis from the last city council. If you don't believe me, look at the slide, look at the numbers. So it's now going to be their turn to adopt budget and to have to address the issues that happen. Having said that, I think, I don't swear, I'm saying this last, I don't know how much that we've had budget, that we're going to have to work together. I also say, and I think the only I've said over time, since Dave Mariano has been here, our staff is deep valued and deeply appreciated. And I think that he is very competent at his job. I'm asking for our staff to trust in his leaders as we trust in his. I'm asking for our staff to listen to that message from Officer Esqueda, who said that with this together committee and that we're going to have work to get through it. On top of that, we do have reality to face. I'm not saying we don't have realities to face, but it's not fair to blame this council and a biker rally that roughly costs about $500,000. And you heard it from the managers, there is light tonight, that is going to sponsor for $450,000 when it could potentially help generate revenue for our community and for business here. That brings in, we'll first have to have a biker rally, and we have not had a bike rally in a number of years. So after we have the rally, then we can assess what the actual numbers are of it bring in, and then we can compare it to what other communities do. There have been cost studies of what we're paying our employees and the neighboring employer pay, or are we not able to talk about public? Okay.
Yeah, there's been studies in the past. There was a large amount of positions that studied part of the last round of negotiations that required MOUs that were signed last year.
I know we've given generous salaries the last couple of years as well. So I'm assuming we're doing, as far as you're looking at comp season, what we're in our employees and playing in other cities. What would you say that's like, generally speaking?
It all depends on what positions.
Okay.
It's all done by classification. So some you have where even some that you'd have that are slightly under, some you could have that are 15% where they look median, look at cost of health benefits, they look at the top step of pay and provide you 6 or 7 cities.
Okay.
It's usually identified as part of the bargaining process.
I'm going to assume that employees have access to that, and I'm assuming that we have access to that, and that we can look at those, can make our assumptions. Not.
The public. Yes.
Okay. So anybody get that? The question about the insurance that Mayor brought, I wasn't clear about it either. Just quick, I'm wondering, City Manager Mr. Rioni, is there one city that might potentially have more claims, and that's boosting the overall, or is it just based on our claims in the City of Worcester?
So it gets spread across. I mean, I could put here, I do have another paperwork, but I mean, the cities are much smaller, so definitely the big fish.
But I'm just wondering, like, I heard you say that there could potentially, like, a major event happen that could potentially split. I'm wondering, I'm assuming you did a look through all other cities to ensure that it's not just one other city that's causing that spike, and we're having to incur that cost.
No, if so,
That's what I was wondering.
Yes, it's your experience, so it's a 5-6 average.
Oh, good.
So when you do the event, you live it for a while. So, have Capitola as part of the group, right? So when they have their issue with the peer, their rates are going to go up a handful of years, they deal with peer. And they're looking forward to when the event falls off, because their rate are going to go down a percentage, because you still have the overall cost of the policy. Think of NCIS going together to buy a policy that has coverage level for all this.
Okay. And as far as unfunded liability, my understanding, just again, sorry, they have been paid. The problem was that they were not shown in the budgets that I had voted against the last years anyways. We're now looking at least on the budget, $4 million more than what we thought we had. We already thought we were in trouble.
So correct. So it's the way it was funded in the budget. So there was what it appears to be, as I've gone through, is that there was some cost budget as an average above, but it wasn't the exact cost per basically publishes a study. So Congress release that. And then what happens is you eventually, so let's say they charge you $1 million, and then the deduction methodology puts $100,000 in. So it offsets. Your liability is reduced. You eventually have to come into a posting of cash, offset, and your balance back to zero. And you repeat that. So what you should have in the system is, as employees are hired, you've been what pension system they're in, what health benefits, all the codes that go into employees, that should be maintained, and the rates are updated each year. And so that rate and those employees have not updated that since now, and probably great for a long time because you have a higher number of participating employees. It's not out of the employees' pocket at all. We look at that. But as employees fall off, then that's less that's going into the pot, which means you have to bring in more cash to trade up. So what you see in your budget going forward is it's not going to be seen as a retirement expense. It's shown as a separate expense because in reality it's a debt. And so to show it as attributed across personnel, really it's a debt cost. It's a service to your debt. So it'll be much clearer, you'll see basic, but if there's staff included in the budget, there will be a new account that's already set up. We'll say the unfunded liability, and you'll be able to see it.
Mr. Leone, can you talk about the salary we gave over the last couple years is going to do that?
So a majority of the debt is for your existing retirees.
Yes.
And then as in theory, the way that it's working now is numbers should remain lower, because of EPRA.
Okay.
So what you had in the 90s and in early 2000s, PERS would let you underfund your retirement as a practice. And so what you had sitting accounts basically spent money, right? If you're supposed to contribute $1,000, well, fast forward and all those people is retired, and you've not contributed to make that whole. So the city or county is on the hook for that. The PEP reform, we're not allowed to do that. So I can't say as a budget strategy, we'll fund our employee side pension less. We have to put in the full rate that they propose. So every year you're going to publish a different schedule. There's basically 9 different groups. It's police, fire, and your miscellaneous, and then the classic tier 2 and PRA. And so, as the PEP formula is designed to lower that considerably. And so, but ultimately, you're on the hook also for your employee shares. So you could have an employee that worked here 20 years ago, 5 years. You don't even remember the name anymore, and they work in another county making twice as much, and they retire tomorrow. You're going to be on the as part of that pool for the few years that person attributed to you.
Okay. COVID money, $10 million gone?
Yes, so that was transferred as revenue to offset the deficit there.
What year?
That was 2022-3.
Okay.
We put that forward as when we put the budget 2 years. So stepped into the role in March of 23. The budget had to be prepared as we put out the budget and tried to balance it more to actuals. The budget was wildly all over the place. And so as we trued up to actuals, we brought forward you that budget was going to be a lot higher because I couldn't simply under budget. And as it has worked its way through, you've seen from the actuals that actually pan out. You try to keep expense down. Quite frankly, your revenue is going to outpace your expenses. We're going to outpace your revenue. The UAL piece that we're talking about is unfortunately icing on the cake. You are in a position, as you can see here, where the revenue simply isn't there. You're growing by that little throughout there. So you look 30 million, then you go 43. But again, if you look at license and permits from 2 million to 6 million, never seen 6 million cents. And then on the charges of service, you go 3.6, 5.3. You're starting to see that's starting to make its way back up, especially as we do fees and increase our fees to align with costs that it takes to business. One of the challenges I'm happy got these are fees across is every fee on the schedule. We're going to get back 60 for inflationary up. Every single one of those fees, and I think everybody that was involved in it, because it was pretty much almost every staff had some role. It's an interview process. So to do a permit with animal control, you're going to walk in and you're going to spend 15 minutes at the receiving counter. You're going to fill out a paper. They're going to take your money. Then they're going to keep that in, right, and then do all the steps. What we do is we have to interview, particularly the staff, identify, I take 15 minutes, full cost is X. Add that in, that goes to Mary, shakes 15 minutes, that costs $20. To get that fee should be $100, right? You go through and you repeat that over and over again, each fee. Because if you don't do that, what you're doing is you're charging $30, right? Let's say it's $2. I know I'm in animal control, the permit fee for a dog, I remember with my 3s was $18, right? But it most likely costs the city more than $18. The staff that are actually opening that letter, when it gets shipped to your house, they're open. They're going to process it. Got to get keyed into the system. They're going to send you the whole process. We actually go through and say, we add up all the staff costs, the paper, all the different. If you have a description that's associated with it, the net fee should be $40. I'm going to number up. Then, because a council decision, if say, well, $48 sounds expensive, it should be $30, right? Because the idea, the user fit of the user individually, where our other, like hack and all of it with police and fire and roads, those services that are just general, right? Whereas user fee, I never have a dog, so why should I less police, fire, and roads to charge less amount for a dog license? That's really the theory overall, is a user fee for the civic benefit of a single user. And that's where you get into, well, the council have a senior citizen discount, those type of discounts, right? But overall, you're going through that process. But when you have fees that hadn't been assessed or adjusted, 20 years ago, that $18 worked pretty well. Now that $18, you're paying staff $50 to do $18 of work. Right? It's like a business for limited spaces. We're a business. We're a municipal corporation. So as you go further away in the cost of service versus what you're charging, you're just basically losing money that way. As costs go up, as staff costs go up, paper goes up, cost of everything's up. If you're not reevaluating those fees, then your deficit is just separating, right? And so that's the idea there.
Mr. City Manager. Yes, sorry. No, you're doing a great job. I really appreciate all the detail and depth that you're doing. I think, again, very content. Last question is going to be, if we continue along the path without any of the record adjustments, let's say we go back to the 10 and the 10. Like, say we kept continuing along that without any of the record adjustment that this council had adopted. City go rep?
I can bring a budget that ends a negative number. I mean, you can't adapt it. You have to, there's...
Again, I don't think it's fair because I didn't approve those budgets. Did not adopt a budget that fiscally responsible, but it's gone. Rainy day fund's gone. 26 employees. Increase salaries. I don't think it's fair for you employees to solidify that and put it on the guys. And I don't think it's fair for you to biker rate as a carrot or a selling point. I say it's going to bankrupt city. I, again, very empathetic about the position all in. However, we have to face the reality that we're in. I think first time in our long time since I'm the council, we're going to do it. You can say whatever you'd like me. That's rude. Very rude. And you can continue to flip off as well. That's fine. But it's very rude.
Please,
now,
please, from the chamber, please. Can we call order to? Can we please from the chamber? Can please have order? Thank you.
Not
can you
amazing.
finish?
Real quick. Yes.
Finish your comment.
100%.
Okay, Councilperson, are you?
I'm going to wrap up.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. We're in a position where we have to make some very hard choices. I would on the advice from Officer Esteva that we need to together to do this together, and if we don't have cooperate a very capable city manager, including our staff and the capable city council, then we're going to have some times here. Thank you much.
Thank you, Councilmember Rosas. Councilmember Randa, questions are from the room. Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
Mayor, like Councilman Rosas is saying about city manager, I think doing a fine job, especially since he just the helm. Was it March of 2023? Right. When I cut that day, March of 2023, with the exact side on right now, some pretty stark number changes appear to happen in school year 2022-2023. You came in the middle of that year, 2023, the end of that cycle. So what we're basically a number bracket around it is a bad sign. It's a bad action. That's a bad day. That's basically being read. Well, some of the things, some decisions that were made that resulted in us getting into this financial situation in just the last year. Just big ticket items.
I think the big ticket items, if you look at revenue, it's building your revenue projections off of one times, and that's the challenge. Your taxes are, first line there, and you see in the growth, you see what you're going to see each year. You did have, 22, 23, 23, 24, you jump $1 million. It's moving. It's moving at the pace that the expenses are moving. What city has done traditionally, if you can, that's going to be your transfers. This measure you aim to pass those dollars transfer into general fund and then use as a general fund dollar. So that's something that the advisory can look at as how costs are budgeted. That essentially that's in there. So I want to make sure that's clear. And it's typically been $7-9 million. It's gone flat this last couple of years, right around $9 million. It'll typically come in a little bit higher than your sales tax because sales use. However, if you look overall, that was message when the budget was presented in 23-24 was screwing back up to actuals and building the budget based on the reality that we were seeing. That was an easy position to come in and say in a couple months, hey, by the way, your budget is here. This is where you're actually at. We caught out all of the the things that exist, the staffing costs and those types of things, and just the normal business, the operating supply, all the different costs are associated. And so you see where you had one big year in 21-22. If you just reduce those by some one times there, basically going 33, 36, 40, 44, and then we had the one time of four in there for this year now, and right around 46, 47. I mean, it's kind of the pace we're on, which is a good pace. I mean, going $4 million a year on a $40 million budget, that's a 10% growth. So that is strong. Where you're going from 31 to 39 to 50, and there is good one-time expense in there as well. But that's where essentially you kind of plateaued at that amount while we're waiting for revenue to catch up. And that was when we had discussions this summer in the budget of building in vacancies and hold those positions and trying to bring savings in. The whole idea was to avoid having to basically the direction was and goal was to not have to impact anybody a job. Grant vacancies do have impacts on staff. You know, if you're in an apartment with a lot of vacancies, the staff that have spoken, they're absolutely right. You're picking the work of those folks. You know, some of these positions here at an economic development manager position, we never fill out in our office. Those are vacancies. You pick up that work. So that is a first statement that the staff are making. However, that was the goal in that was to, you know, hold those vacancies, and that then the discussion with the departments is try to hold them and build to a pace that revenue has been able to catch up. And as you can see, we've done a pretty good job of keeping the expense flat from the period while revenue has continued to grow. The challenge we have now is still have some of the pension costs that are rising, as well as the significant one-time costs that walked you through. I mean, I have to pay the state the landfill permit. You know, we have the SAP, we have the insurance costs. All of this piece too are also part of that grand total. You know, we have to start in that position.
Thank you.
Just one last question. So did you say that decisions made previous council is resulting in the situation that we're dealing with right now? Just yes or no?
I'm going to pin on one council or another. I think the numbers show what the path has been and the effort taken to stabilize that to try to as revenues catch up, honestly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Go ahead, Mr. Morris.
So first, I just want to say thank you to all the staff. When I came on council, we had a 40 to 60% vacancy rate, and folks were doing multiple jobs years. So first, I want to say thank you for bringing the city of Hollister and the residents in the community. We had COVID, and many of you risked your health, your family health, to also get through the pandemic. So I want to thank you for all your work. You know, I can't see how you can blame previous councils for the rising in PERS, the one money we put in the general fund. This isn't about blame. This is really about what are the solutions we're right now. I want to say that our staff are our community. We can't do anything with our staff. We can't do anything without their trust and their support and commitment to this community as have the last decades. First, I want to thank you just everything you have done, continue to do for our community, for each other. And we are going to get through the job at a cost. You know, I'm going to give everything in terms of benefits and salary. My council members would follow suit. I know it's a job in the bucket, but I think if we're willing to commit something, we commit to, I might say one, two people. I love to that. I would hope, when we're looking at budget reduction, that we are considering when people leave, when people separate from, our city, or a generate money, we should just hold position. We should truly analyze the work, because the work is really translated into what actually happens to the community. We should prioritize essential services, and everything that is essential should consider nudging. People's lives are lives, and they're important. So I think that just with saving people's lives should be prioritized. So really to look at this from a very strategic way of business, say 10% across the board, %. I think 10% is something that could look in terms of strategizing, bringing revenue. I know limited, but in looking at numbers, there's a lot that we do. So I'm hopeful that we actually look at this budget in terms of different opportunities. We are going to look and have those difficult decisions and conversations, but we definitely have them with our employees, with our community, make that there is communication back and forth, that not just, here it is, you kind of have to do it because you have to do it. I think it'd be a conversation to really look at what the impact to people, employees, people too, employees, family, they have obligations, have to take care of their family members too, who are our residents, are our community members. We are still community. One of the most beautiful things about Hollister is that we're here for each other. That's my experience being to Hollister. And, I want to be able to move from the blame and really just try and figure out a team. We can look at what are some recommendations from our employees in terms of what we can do. If you don't want to do it directly with our city manager, go through union. You have the ability to meet with your council members to bring any solutions. You're the ones that are doing the job. You're the one that know best what actually happened on the ground. You can provide us with these recommendations or possible solutions and how we move forward. But I'm hopeful that we will move forward together, and it will not have a negative impact on morale, or it will not cause harm to our community results of people. I'm hopeful that we get through together where.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I still want to just appreciate for the hard work. The fact that I think our manager said that there's staffing needs, that other staffing needs. I'm sure that there's no doubt that they're there. There's staffing needs. We like to see that happen because we know that that can help us. We all know that this year we don't have the revenue. We don't have money to cover any additional positions. I think it's a very, very difficult position to be in. However, I think that we can forward if we all working together some of the cuts. I echo your sentiment about giving what the council gets. The council gets 170. Thank you for that. 170,000 a year for the 5 of us. And I have a question about that. Can you put the side part, which part is the insurance, the healthcare benefits, and those things?
Yeah, the stipend is $51,600, and the rest is health insurance, the life policy. There's a state contribution as well as your and all those types of things.
Okay, So the actual stipend we get is about 50,000 for the entire county, which is 10,000 each, which a month. That's basically what we get. So sometimes we get. I mean, at least I've in some of these since I these that it's a job. We get very small amounts in here. The insurance, however, that is a significant cost, and so I do think that there may be an opportunity to spend money. I think that I would not be opposed to considering whether that's there. However, I will say that I'm only concerned about that for future councils if you are incentivize to run these positions. There is you don't have much to offer in that way, may not be able to afford that. May be a way to run for seats, because otherwise only those that are financially able to sit in these positions will take them on. Having said, I just wanted to say that. However, I think that we should get that. I think it's an opportunity for us to save money. And I do want to also address the rally. So as our manager spoke, we have majority of costs covered. So those are not coming from our coffers smurred. And the infusion of money will come into our local economy. That means our businesses. That means that some of that will end up being sales revenue that comes to the city. But our local economy, if we see an increase in that, if we boost that economy, that is a trickle. It adds for encourage more economic development. If we have economy that's going down, then this encourages economic development. So we have to find ways. It's not like the all of how we're going to save the city, but that one way by having money into our local economy that helps us to our economy. That's one way to do that. And we need to encourage those kinds of activity that will help to bring things to our local economy, encourage business, and encourage more people to come to the city and spend their dollars so that we can find ways to increase revenue. So that's an important way to look at that. We have to continue to look for those types of revenue inducing practice, events, policy out of this. If we only cut, and to your point about essential, I was going through my trying to think what we have that's not essential, and I'm not sure that we much. Certainly, public safety is always our priority. And if you look at any budget throughout the years, it's the public safety is always biggest piece of by always overwhelmingly largest piece. Other one, they take our water systems. We have safe, clean drinking water, our sewer systems, our road. We need to be able to drive on roads. We need to have good roads, and we know that we had a lot of complaints about the roads looking better. That. And we have our parks, and so we can say, let's not have this. Well, our parks then are not the lawns mowed, the bathrooms are clean. Our children, they want to play somewhere there's nothing that's safe. Will be there. We will then block in our parks. So I don't have that much because Parks and Rec take care of the parents of downtown. So I just want to bring that home, because all of our employees have a role to play, and public safety is the most important. We do give overwhelmingly priority to public safety. If we don't take care of all of that a little bit, it will not be a place to live, and people won't come here. So I think we need to keep that in mind as well, as we want to ensure that we have safe water, our systems working, our roads are being taken care of. So all of those are important things. I just wanted to point that out. And that's all I say for now. Did you have another question, member? Send us a comment.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Just as far as the recommendations, then I think that the city is looking for direction. I would recommend we move with all city manager recommendations other than taking the bike lane.
Can you so we can do what they are, so that all of us be reminded and make sure that we're getting at all the different recommendations.
Here we go.
So yes, Mr. City Manager, is this the slide that I think we have not considered moved on or considering forward, or is it the slide for this one?
I think slide 4, this is things that the staff have been working on and keying in. So Sheriff can just maybe walk you through. So looking at training and conference budgets to only include critical training needs, to focus on public safety and critical instruction.
So if I just speak to once, and here's what I am interpreting this, and you tell me this is what this means. I know that oftentimes city employees and other jurisdictions will send employees to conferences that are them to build their skills, to re-energize, renew ideas of how to make the city, county, state, whatever the entity is. So sometimes, and those are real important. Those are important because it helps for the learning and the skill building to continue. However, your recommendation is that for now, we may not be able to do those enriched kind of training and conferences, and only those that are essential critical trainings that are needed for public safety and critical infrastructure are the ones that we would send our staff to.
I would be into the department heads for their advice on that. They've got their request programmed in budget for special public safety and then public works requirements and ongoing training requirements. So we want to jeopardize that in trying to cut the requirements. So look to chief and to our public works director and our other department heads to give advice as to what makes the most sense. We don't want to cut training that's required in any way.
Yeah, we can't do that. Okay, thank you for that.
Okay, right now, your council member travel allocations are $20,000, $25,000. You
Is that per, just to be real clear, the count is the entire council, okay.
So the policy changed. Essentially, Mayor, you have $5,000. The remaining council members have $4,000, and there was a pool for an additional $4,000. Like if someone needed, extra $500 to get across the finish line or something else that one wanted to go to, and they could, it's good they had to make a request. All the travel is approved by council, but this saved $20,000 if you took it completely.
Okay, thank you.
Work with Chief Reynoso regarding our animal control agreement. Work the Hollister School District in regard to the joint use agreements for the parks. Now there's 7 parks under a joint use agreement, $50,000 apiece.
Can I ask, and so would that then make those parks not part of public parks? Would those simply be that we are not involved in the like maintenance of it? What exactly would that mean to the public?
What happens to your schools? And what happens with schools is they are used by the students to a certain time, 5, 6 o'clock, depending on what the park is, and then the city, it becomes a park for residents to just go, play soccer or whatnot, until sundown. City staff then go around and close all of the parks as well.
So essential. So this is what I'm getting at. Vista, often softball, soccer, baseball, things like that happening there when school is out.
Correct.
So then actually those would close as the gates would close and then school's out, and our public wouldn't have access to those. Is what you're saying?
In the worst case scenario, would work with them obviously and try to have those conversations. You can also you could get particular parks. Doesn't have to be an all or nothing. If there's a handful of parks that are used more than others, that's something to look at as well.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah, we want to do that. So we have a better, and more because the public has an idea of when we do things like this for as cost savings you, your family, and then children.
Okay. The next one is not proceeding with independent rally. We have an estimated net expenses of $150,000. Of course, sponsorships, revenue, of that. That is an assumption in working with road shows. So you have to be comfortable with, sponsorships and vendor fee, business license fees, and all those are assumptions. And so I just want to put it out there and your direction if you want to continue to proceed with it.
And then the last one.
The Left of July fireworks show. This is something we would have to get your direction this evening because the way that the contract, the need time, so we have to sign the quote basically. The quote about $39,000 and then everything else goes into it. So if that's something the council would not proceed forward with, what we do is let the vendor know that we're not going to forward, and then with our other vendors to top that, as well as staff would have to leave it at
Okay. So we give you clear direction. So any questions or comments on this room?
So we're in favor of moving forward and not doing any of these items in order to look at being staff positions and my impacts to our employees and committee.
Mayor Stevens.
Go ahead, Councilmember Sens.
Thank you. So, Councilor Morales, you're in favor of not having biker as well. Is that true?
That is correct. If we're looking at $500,000, potentially $600,000 cost insurance, potential liability issues, potentially a lot of projected revenues uncertain based on the information we received. Looking at it, yes, it was deficit. That's not counting, overtime costs or any other cost. Because of the situation we're in, or any other circumstance, and I would, yes, let's go with it. But looking at up to $600,000 equaling people, that's a lot of positions we're looking to. If we're looking to have an impact on $1 million, I think significant chunk money. If you want to bank the sponsorships and do it by next year, that's money for next year. But I think this year we really to, by law, pass a balanced budget. That's what we need to refocus in less than a month. I mean, we're looking at really 2 weeks to really close the gap for $1 million.
And if I could clarify, in regard to sponsorships versus expenses, it means you would save, say, $500,000, right? Because you also would get the sponsorship revenue or the rentals or all those things. It's not perfect wash. I don't want to imply that you save $500,000, save difference between whatever revenue we come in and your grand total of expenses. So, but this is certainly expenses associated with it.
So we've had to, you got to say, this is cost city. What, I don't know what the potential revenue might be, what it's going to cost us today. Like, what would it cost to do it without looking at anything that may be coming in? Because I don't know what it is. I don't know all the cost. We know cost, but we don't know all potential revenue is, right? And some of the sponsor money can be for other things. So the sponsor money is specific for the in a bank and use next year.
Yeah, I'm sure a sponsor would want to sponsor an event the year out, but the estimate that we have on the table, $150,000, and estimate is an estimate.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Councilor Morales. Do you have any comment about the list?
I do.
Or
I'm here, basically what we've heard here from Councilmember Says and Morales, except for, so I think we take a look at all of them and act about all of them. And, next the fireworks show, look at which parks to keep open, which parks to reduce, Rancho, Sarah Vista, I know I see a lot of people out there, animal control agreement, travel allocations, limiting though, if it's $25,000, we take that down to 10 and just 0 potentially. Medical training, absolutely, especially for public safety. When it comes to the rally, I think one thing that we're not taking into account is it's fun, like when they run businesses, you never know what you're going to get when it comes to advertising dollars spent, right? So when somebody spends money on advertising, you don't know what you're going to get as far as sales with that, right? But Pepsi spends a lot of money on advertising, Coca-Cola and all these companies do that. How do they do it to bring more awareness of the brand or keep that brand in the mind of the consumers? There's a lot of good things that to offer, right? I mean, we've got the wind trip, we've got the pinnacles. I think we might be forgetting that what this potentially is, what Mayor said, it's reminding people of our history, our heritage, of the past, and part of our towns play in that. It's reminding the public of all the cool things that we have to offer. Our wine trail, like I said, pinnacles. I mean, we have meetings with the county for the Tourism Advisory Board, and this is money that be potentially coming into our town almost at parity. The whole goal was to not, cost the taxpayer everything. It was to have parity between what it costs and what it costs, and we have spent to get it to happen. And we're almost there, right? We're $150,000 away. We still have a little bit of time. But what is the potential benefit of the money that cycles through? How many times is that money filtered through our economy? I think that we're just looking at it as a black and white. The world doesn't operate in black and white. It operates in a lot of gray, and that gray area, there's a lot of benefit that can potentially come from the rally when it comes to bringing people here and reminding them not to forget your wallet, spend some money, fill hotels, camp out, have a great time, and maybe potentially do next year. So I'm in favor of Councilmember Morales as it relates to everything except for the rally. I think moving forward with that is, if done safely, be a net positive for everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Oh, any amendments on this? No. Okay, so I think if I just get it up and Councilmember to stepped out, but I'm going to see if I can get a majority from what we have here forward with direction. Councilmember Mercedes, I think the rep, and then Councilmember Morales issue case. I think that's the direction. Move forward with, and then at next meeting we will get then the projections based on those cost-cutting measures. Is that correct?
Yes, and we'll continue to work with departments to continue to go through the budget and with staff whole 9 yards.
Thank you. And thank you to all our city staff for coming forward and giving the comment and for and working with our city manager to work on this difficult budget year. We're being more disciplined with some of the activities, with budget activities, that we will be better positioned next year and years to come. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. We're going to go back to consent items. So I'm going to go to the consent item part of the agenda and then work through the agenda from that point on to get us through the rest of the night. Okay, so do any members of the council have any brief questions or comments about consent items? Okay, not seeing any. So, City Clerk, are there public comment on the consent items?
Yes, we have one speaker, Joe Jaloni. He's here. Yes.
Okay, thank you, please.
And do you like to?
Let's get at 30. Yeah, let's get there.
Thought I was going to last sitting here for a minute. We received tonight's agenda late Friday afternoon. When I threw it, I read about section 8.5, the resolution authorizing contract to place works. Within that, the city consultant, Kelly Horn, is to update the traffic analysis. So I sent an email to Eva, who's the planner they're dealing with, asking her, is our project analysis still included? Since we've been dealing with the city for 5 years on our project. She said the direction of the city attorney, because we changed the script twice, we will not be part of it, and we're shown in the past being part of it. So I'm not sure if the city attorney realizes that we didn't request change before. It was by the city. There were 2 changes by the city, and then the city consultant with Orley suggested that we change our whole project by planned development. So it was the 3rd time. So this could possibly be a night back by our project not being included in the res update.
Thanks, sir. Let me check with that. Is there some way we can follow up with this? Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your comment. I appreciate it. Please continue to work this city staff. Thank you. Any other comments? Any other public comment cards for consent items?
Okay. No, there are items. No other cards for these items.
Okay. Thank you for that. So I'm going to check with council. Go ahead, Member Sanders.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to adopt agenda as printed by staff.
We're talking consent items, right?
Consent agenda.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
apologies.
I get I'll consent it, and then can we roll call?
Vice Chair Pacheco.
Aye.
Councilmember Mendez.
Aye.
Councilmember Morales.
No, I wanted information 8.5 to follow with the public comment. But everything else
Okay,
fine.
so you say no to passing the consent items?
Because of 8.5.
Okay. Else, I will vote yes. So we have.
I need it from Councilmember Dita.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, motion passes 4-1 with member
We're
out.
going to move forward and rest with our agenda, and we're going to go on to. This cannot be. We were out of order here, so we're going to go to public hearing 10.1 resolution confirming and approving the bound diagram estimates and ordering levy election of assessor 9-1 for fiscal year 25-26. Thank you. We get a staff report.
Good evening, Mayor, Councilmember William, Public Works Director. The item before you here tonight is the final state of levying the Smith for escaping light district number 93-1. On the proceedings started April 21st. Council initiated proceedings. On May 5th, the council adopted resolution approved draft engineer report. On May 19th, the city council adopted a resolution of intention levying elect assessment and set a public hearing for June 2nd, 2025 at 6:30 p.m., which is where we are now. The public hearing, all interested persons shall afford the opportunity to hear and heard. The council shall consider all oral statements and protests made or filed by any interested person. City council may order changes in any of the matters provided in a report, including changes in the improvements, any zones within the assessed district, and the proposed diagram or the proposed assessment. City council adopt a resolution confirm the diagram and assessments either as originally proposed or as changed. The adoption of the resolution constitutes the levy of estimate for fiscal year 25 and 26. Staff prepared the final engineer's report, which includes the budget, the bound diagram, and collection goals for council consideration. And recommendation tonight is to adopt a resolution approving the final engineer report, confirming the boundary and assessments, and ordering the levy and collection assessments of Landsman Light District 93.1 for fiscal year 25-26. And to hold the public hearing, I think I'd put that part of the recommendation.
Thank you. Any question from council? Question on this? No. Okay, so we're going to open the public hearing. So I'm going to back my gavel. And do you have any public comments on them?
There are no public comments item.
Okay, so thank you that I will now close public hearing. Any decision for the council, deliberation, can a motion, accept?
Steve, I'll move it out.
Second.
Okay, thank you for that. Can we get a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Shea.
Aye.
Councilmember Morales.
Yes.
Sorry, Councilmember Rendez.
Aye.
Councilmember Miranda. Yes. Member Stevens.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's move on to item 10.25, Appeal 2025-2, Alexander Siak, regarding the location of fencing in the Farmstead subdivision. So we please Vice report. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. Eva Kelly, planning manager with the Community Development Department. As we put the presentation, I would like to state that unfortunately the staff report that was submitted was partially in error, and so the title of the item is correct, staff's recommendation is correct, all the attachment received is correct, and the first section of background correct. However, starting with the discussion, the appeal is actually duplicated from the Plan Commission, so I will provide a corrected background information, but item and that can still be heard because the important information about the title and the recommendation of the attachments were all corrected. So now I have provided that correction information to the applicant as well. So that being said, tonight's item is Appeal 2025-2 filed by Alexander Siak regarding fencing in the Farmstead subdivision, specifically 1010 Patrick Drive. The subdivision is located at the southwest corner of South Street and Westside Boulevard. It's 14 single-family lots. The subdivision map is already filled. The subject is two northern parcels, again, 1010 Patrick Drive. Here's a sideways view of the intended map, or the final map, of the subdivision, with north in this slide to the right. For some background on what led to the deal here today, on July 8th of last year, there was building applications we call plot plans submitted for lots 1, 2 of the Farmstead subdivision. And on July 26, 2024, the city engineering building plan and engineering staff returned comments on those plans to the applicant. There were a number of comments from the different divisions. However, the subject of the bill tonight focused on the request for the staff requested the applicant identify that's located on the plan that was not identified. That's our requirement. It was noted by the engineering and planning division that the fence can't be located within the 10 PUE public utilities easement, which is on the north side of these lots, Old South Street, and that's coming from different sources, your municipal code and engineering standard specs. On March 17th of 2025, this is one of the questions in the staff report. At the time of the planning commission, which is what it says in the staff report, there was a resubmittal. However, there was a submittal since then on March 17th of 2025, and we got second first revision, lots 1 and 2, but again, denying the fence station, those denied on repeat, and we're here tonight with the appeal at that status. Here's the July 8th, 2024 building permit symbol. Again, of changes were made, but this is still relevant. You can see public utilities easement here. This is your corner lot, 10-foot PUE at the back of the property, and that's what's right onto there. And here's your lot 2 at 10 Pat Drive. The PUE is down on the plot plan. That would be one of the comments. However, the fence with the 10-foot setback location is still subject to the appeal. Section 17.16.50 of the Municipal Code is a code section regarding fencing, screen walls. Specifically from the table here, when a fence is located on a street side setback corner lot, the maximum height is 3 feet. If it is within the 10-foot setback of a street side setback, if the fence wants to be taller than 3 feet, in this case, proposed for a 6-foot fence, a standard residential rear yard fence. So if it's 6 feet tall in that 10-foot setback, discretion is subject to the engineering department, and their view is based on 2 provisions: one, the fence can create a safety hazard, and 2, that the fence is consistent with easements and rights of way. 29 engineering standards and specifications has this section. This is a excerpt from those standard specs, where sound walls fencing shall not be allowed in any public easement. The applicant has requested to place fence on the property line. This would be at the back, not of sidewalk, but of landscaping strip on South Street. And the engineering department has viewed the fence location, and while they have not found it to be acceptable place fence on the property line, engineering has found the fence placement to be acceptable place 5.5 feet back on the property line. So 4.5 feet in the public utility easement, that is, they're 4.5 feet closer to the property line than the standard 6-foot fence sack is. However, the applicant would like the fence to be placed on the property line, so they would add additional 5.5 feet. Engineering has not found that to be acceptable or consistent with the easement. The 10-foot setback, or the setback, 5.5-foot setback property line, that's proposed to be acceptable by our engineering staff, is consistent with the J lot here. This fence is existing. It's set back 10 feet from the back of the sidewalk. So there's a sidewalk, a 10-foot landscaping strip, and then the location of the fence. Engineering acceptable solution that was provided to the applicant would line the fence with this fence at 10 feet from the back of the sidewalk. On September 6th, following the comments that were provided and discussions with engineering staff, the director, at this time assistant city manager, made formal determination agreeing with engineering staff's determination of the interpretation of the municipal code, allowing that exception 5.5 feet back from the property line, 10 feet back from the sidewalk. On September 17th, following director determination, the applicant filed an appeal of staff's determination to Planning Commission, and this is where your report does clarify. And on February 27th of 2025, the Planning Commission adopted Resolution 2025-5, denying this appeal and affirming staff's determination and directing the applicant to amend the plans, the building permit application accordingly, showing fence location, and again, showing that fence no closer than 5.5 feet from the property line. Tonight, what the council is considering a second appeal 2025-2, was filed following Planning Commission's denial on March 10, 2025, and the base of the appeal, as shown in the application, which is attached to your staff report, is that PC, Planning Commission, denied the applicant's appeal to have the rear tentative map and final maps require the fences be set at their rear property lines. Staff's response to the appeal statement is that the awarded final map indicates the PUE, public utilities easement, is required to be clear building structures except lawful fences. Also, on August 16th of 2019, during the review of map and improvement plans, engineering division did come to the applicant to remove the fence, indicating that the proper approval will be considered in the plans. The building permits will be submitted. Additionally, note 21 reflects the conditions on the map, which is that residential fencing shall be held in accordance with these standards, with municipal code, are approved for installation, etc. Section 716.050 was last edited in 2014, was prior to the project's entitlement, was a 2015 tentative map. And so this section of the municipal code doesn't change. The fencing requirements were available, known to the applicant at the time that applied for and received approval of the map. Nothing has changed. And in response to the applicant's statement that the tentative info map requires fences to be set at the rear property line, this is simply untrue. It's not required. It's actually required in the conditions. Fence provided in the review of application map and improvement plans. Comments provided on the lot plans, which is the time the fences are approved, that need to meet the municipal code in order to be a law fence. The municipal code also, as we discussed, gives the engineering division the authority to consider approval of fence taller than 3 feet. A review for conflicts with easements, which in this case is the case that the engineering division has determined it would reflect that public utility easement and access in the future if needed, if it is closer than their option. And they have reviewed it and proposed and accepted to the applicant that we acceptable to engineering staff. In summary, again, staff gives the statement made by the applicant regarding fence tentative final maps requiring fences be set at the rear property line is untrue. They were again informed throughout this process of development that fences are approved at building permit to remove them from plans, and they would be approved at the time that we are at now in the development process, and proposed an acceptable exception to our engineering staff who has authority to make this approval. The Planning Commission has so considered the situation and recommend they deny the appeal and affirms the determination as well. Is therefore our recommendation to the council to adopt a resolution denying the appeal and holding the Planning Commission determination, the finding contained in the draft resolution, and again, included in the resolution is directed the applicant to revise building permit application to respond to all comments, including identifying the location of the period of fence on the plans and putting them no clearer than 5.5 answer any questions.
Thank you, Kelly, for that. Robert, any questions for Scott?
And I will say, we do have engineering here if any
Okay,
technical questions.
question. Maybe, did you have a question?
You.
Go ahead.
So the driveway, like for ingress, egress going in and out of the body, is coming off of for the two properties of Lindsay Lane.
Technically Patrick, but
Oh, Cactus. Open Google Maps here.
yeah, so Lindsay Lane is just north south. Patrick technically has the three houses, but yes, their drives are internally facing to the south and then to the north. So it's an unusual lot setup. Certainly, their rear yard's back in South Street, so they have street and street back.
Oh, so the backyard fence.
It is a backyard.
So it's typical, like City Tall has a lot on top.
Yes,
People can have a backyard and some barbecuing and have a little privacy. Okay. It's really not all I had. So
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for that. So I have one question. This is more just clarification for the public. It may be engineering questions. I'm not sure. Can we just explain why we have the need for a setback requirement, like a point? Why that's important? Is the purpose of having that?
So I'll ask Albert to come up specific for this case, but I can speak to setback generally. Your setback is going to be for distance and safety on streets, and then also, as this case, conflict with utility lines. And so the reason that we have easements generally is so that public utilities, the city, but so P&E or internet cable providers can't access lines. They're there. Or if in the future there becomes 6G network needs cable and ground or fiber or something like that in the future, easement is dedicated to perpetuity so that public utilities can access and place utility lines as needed in those easements. I can speak to Glenn for the specific remedy on this property.
Okay, yeah.
You handle everything.
Okay, great.
If there's any other
I mean, I just want to confirm. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just like we do want to make a standard. There's a reason, and we would not have easy access to these utilities with a need for repair, grade, and or we'd have rip up the entire fence, with that in and of itself could be unsafe. Could, if there were an emergency, could create.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. Did anybody have any questions for the engineer? Okay. With that, then let's see where I'm at here. So this is public hearing. Let's go to public comment. Thank you.
Okay, just want to confirm that you want to put a minute once. Okay. Our speaker is Alex Black.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I have 1.5 minutes to respond to all this that's going on. 3 o'clock, I received an email from Eva saying that the staff report was incorrectly sent. I had prepared and given you, provided my presentation and the exhibits that go along with it. First thing is that the rear fence is clearly set at the property line. Exhibit 3 is the tentative map. And right there it says, proposed 6-foot wooden private fence along side and rear yards. That's the side and rear yards, lot 2, lot 1. That's a correct statement by planning. The conditional approval with that tentative map, Exhibit 4, paragraph 18 says, residential fencing shall be installed, replaced along the project boundary. In sentence 4 it says, fencing on perimeter subdivision shall play along all project boundaries. The condition of approval, improvement shall strictly adhere to the approved set of plans prepared by San Benito Engineering submitted on January 21st, 2016.
Thank you, Mr. I this public comment is not an opportunity presentation. So we stick to our limit for tonight. So we've done all night. So I comment and then back to askers and new speakers.
No, there's
okay, thank you, Ms. Saiwa. Any questions?
Okay, close public hearing.
We'll close the public hearing now, and then I'll check with our council members if there's any comments.
Thank you. I don't have any comments or questions, but prepared to move forward with recommended action for staff.
To be clear, that would be motion to adopt resolution denying the appeal.
And then if one of the two slides on the staff board as well.
Determination under the applicant revised building application to demonstrate location of the rear fence of lot 1 and 2, no closer than 5.5 feet from the northern property.
Here's that. I'll second it. Can we roll call?
So to be clear, before you do the roll call vote, a yes is to deny.
Okay. Roll call.
Vice Mache.
Aye.
Councilmember Sendez.
Yes.
Councilmember Dinda.
Yes.
And Councilmember Morales. Yes. And Mayor Stevens.
Yes.
Vote passed 5-0.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, we're going to move on, and next items are committee assignments. So we'll check in with any activities, any acts, and committee, or any other reports. So I'll start this side. Councilman Sender, anything to report?
I think, Stephen, thank you.
Councilman
report at this. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Councilmember Morales.
Yes, I'm on an management tonight, so it's late minute, but I will note and report back to at next council meeting. Sorry, it's just conflict.
Last week I sat in on the Tourism Advisory Committee, and we continued discussions around how to encourage more tourism, and we talked about how we use the DOT. That was part of the conversation. We talked about design specifications for certain locations that provide hotel space or other as well as some incentive that would put out to our potential other developers like to build their hotels and other like temporary living spaces. So we talked about incentives to bring those out. So we're continuing to have those good discussions. It was a really good conversation, made some recommendations, and we'll have some final decisions later on some of those recommendations. And so that's all I have to report on my committee appointments. So I'm going to move on, and I'll go to the awards. Manager.
Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so I guess at the end, we're not going to go into closed session, and we'll. We're